What does perfect even mean? Is there even such a thing? Ooh, can we switch up all the rules and imagine a utopia?
How's it going? We're gonna do a quick garden reveal, sorta. Give you guys like a little progress update on the garden. So today and yesterday we spent like all day, both days out here working. So let's show you what we did. Hi Morty, he's coming to be your guide. Hi tour guide Morty. So I built our new little garden boxes that are gonna go in our little arbors to replace these, because these are not the right shape or size. So this lifts everything up to the right height, and it's almost the exact size, so it works perfect. We're gonna put morning glories in that this year. I have another one for the other side, but this one's frozen to the ground still, so that will be going in there once it's thawed. And I'm gonna have 2 different colored morning glories going over this. What? I heard you. How are you? You're such a good boy. All right, so in through the garden, we have gotten hay bales placed all along the house, as you can see. And we've started going this way with them. The compost is gonna get moved over in that corner once it thaws. And then we'll have 2 compost bins going when we get another pallet to attach those together. And this hay bales are continuing all the way around the perimeter. We have to get another probably like 15-ish, give or take, hay bales to wrap all the way to the other side. But the hay bales are supposed to keep going all the way around. And all of the wooden boxes are gonna move once the ground is thawed. Right now they're still frozen to the ground a little bit. So this box still has a tiny bit of ice left. The last of the garden snow and ice is in this box. And then right here, we have my poor wind chime that fell down and froze to the ground that I didn't realize was out here. My poor wind chime. Sad panda. She broke. But she finally melted out of the ground. And the other half of the garden gate is still kind of frozen at the moment. But it looks like it'll probably be out by tomorrow. So we can put our gate back together. Go take care of this broken wind chime. You put that in the trash for me? No. Thank you.
Why can't I just put it in the trash box?
Because it needs to go in a trash bag. So we finally got a wheelbarrow. And the hay bales are gonna continue. Got our little azalea bush over here. She's doing good. She got some buds. See azalea bush buds? She's coming back good. And then that's still frozen to the ground. So that's not moving yet. So once that comes out of the ground, these will all shift this way and fill that hole up, and we'll just keep continuing the bales along. I don't know if I'm gonna squeeze them behind the willow tree or not, but this will all move. This is Sebastian the willow tree. And he's been here for about 4 years, maybe 5, I've lost track. But every year he does amazing. Problem is he keeps getting beetles on him that eat his leaves every summer. So this year we finally got some diatomaceous earth to keep the beetles under control. That's one of our hugel beds. We got 2. Those are the only 2 things not moving. We got this built today. This is so we can harden off our seeds. I love it. I joked that I was going to take the shelves out and go in there and make it into a little sauna. Because I could fit. So that's our new hardening off box. I don't know what they're called. These were all the buckets from our bean teepee, which was where this currently is. This is now our outdoor classroom area where we're going to do schoolwork outside when it's warm. As you can see from the marks, that's where the bean teepee was, but I decided we were going to move that into that hugel bed this year once the ground is thawed. It's still frozen. So it's going to definitely transform a bunch more. We still got some ice over here. And we ended up having a missing piece from our second metal raised bed. So unfortunately, this one is not able to be finished at the moment. But we are hoping they're going to send us the replacement piece that's missing. Got to attach our garden gates. This side, I've got to get the next set of planters and put them in here. I haven't ordered them yet because I had to make sure the other ones were going to fit first. All of my crystals from my outdoor Zen garden are getting knocked about by the chickens. So, yeah, I've got to get this up and going soon, but I got to get a rake because our rake broke. So all of my crystals are kind of just out here getting disgusting because of the chickens at the moment. We moved the chicken coop, guys. Look, that's where the chicken coop was. That right there, all that hay. The chicken coop was right here for the winter. And we decided we did not want them here anymore. The smell of this big pile of poop was getting to be a bit much, and I decided I didn't want us to have the hammock grove downwind of the chicken coop. So we moved the chicken coop. So the chicken coop is moved for now, and I covered up where it was with the hay. This is going to be a garden flower bed once I am ready to start planting. We moved our swing outside, so it's not the living room anymore. I put a couple of lights.
The chickens like their new home.
Are they in it?
Yep.
I put a couple of solar lights in our apple tree, so I can't wait for those to light up tonight.
Just a little bit. They're all good.
Oh, the back of my shed, by the way. All the beard feeders and the wind chimes.
And a wild Michael.
And a wild Michael and Jolene. Don't break any of her branches, mister.
This one's really strong.
It's a new lantern. I can't wait for this one to turn on.
I always grab onto this branch and she holds pretty strong. That peacock has become part of
Yes, this poor wind chime has grown into the tree. She is part of Jolene now.
more like 4 turns.
Hi, chickens! The chicken coop moved. The chickens have a view now. What lucky chickens you are. The fluffy butt hut has been moved, so it's right next to my shed now. Look how cute they look next to each other. It's adorable. Adorable! So now the path is gonna have to weave between the chicken coop and my shed. Hi, girls! Hi, girls! Do you like your new spot? Do you like your new hill? Look at your view!
And here comes the wild berry.
Again? Hi, buddy. We got the hammock grove almost completely set up today. So this is the path down. Dusty's following me. He thinks I got treats. We set up the hammock grove different this year. So we kept all of the hammocks on the outskirts of the grove instead of coming through to the middle. like before. So this whole center part's open this time around. So I have space to put a fire ring if I want, a little one, or just an empty space for me to do my sound baths. Just a little one. But now I have room to do my sound baths and have a fire pit over here in the hammock grove. We got the lights up higher with hooks. My new hooks. And I hung some of my wind chimes out here. Morty, leave the chickens alone. Hi, babies. Hi, buddy. This is the very wet hammock grove. It will dry out eventually, and then we'll start having sound baths out here. But right now it's very wet.
Fireplace here, and it's like a ring of hammock.
Hi, girls. So yeah, we did a lot of work today. We set up the whole hammock grove. We got the chicken coop moved and cleaned out again. And then yeah, we're working. We're doing a lot of work. We're gonna take the rest of the week off because we spent the last 2 days outside doing manual labor, and me and Tevin's backs are killing us now. But this is gonna go because we're getting a new swing set, a wooden one. This is gonna go, and the new swing set is going to go right here, and then the terrace garden, which is that's going away. The terrace hill right here, this side hill is going to be my herb slash it's gonna be my apothecary slash herbal tea garden on this hill, and it's gonna be 3 tiers coming down, and then we're gonna be building a dead wall all along this property line, all the way down to basically past the tree house or the playground. And then
these are all gone.
This is gonna go away.
Yeah, you can tell because all of these blocks are like
we built this the first year we moved into this house, 10 years, 11 years ago, 12 years ago. I lost track. It's been 12 years. Yeah, it's about 11, 12 years.
So it's been about 11, 12 years. Yeah.
So this fire pit needs to be replaced. We are going to remove it completely, fill the hole back in, try to get the lawn growing back here again, or maybe moss. Maybe we'll try a moss patch. And then the fire pit is going to move down the hill away from the house further, kind of like center. You see where those trees are down there? Those pine trees are kind of the evergreen. We're gonna like make a path going straight down to the middle of those evergreen, and then the fire pit's gonna be like right about there in the middle of the path, and the path will like stop with a fire pit in the middle.
How many fire pits do we need?
And then it's gonna continue down to the trees. Quite a bit of room. We just got to utilize it. So that's the plan. The property is coming along. I mean, we've done a lot in the last 2 years. So it's coming along. That's our house from the back. It looks so ugly. Very blank. I guess we got to paint it. But that is your homestead update. Look, the chicken's like, where did my house go? Where did it go? It was here. Hi, little dusty chicken. Dusty, dusty chicken. You're such a dusty chicken. Hi, dusty chicken. How's my baby girl? Dusty, dusty chicken. And I'm gonna guess that was the dog or cat chasing them all. Alright guys, hope you enjoyed the homestead tour. Bye.